So this is the first race of the Group A and historic touring cars, including Gentleman Jim Richards in the lineup on the front row. It is Tony Boyden on the outside in that beautiful Walkinshaw Commodore. Alongside him, the RX-7. You're riding here with Tony Boyden from Dannevirke, a big stalwart of the Central Muscle Car Group and also heavily involved in the historic muscle cars as well. This car is an absolute masterpiece and an absolute beast to drive. So you're on board as we head down into this blind turn one here at Hampton Downs, and it's Boyden that will go through into the front. Some amazing cars, amazing history in this big field. We've got a couple of Paul Radisich ex Yellow Pages Telstar. We've got the 635 BMW of Jim Richards. We've got the Stuyvesant RX-7 ex Greg Hansford. There's some amazing history here on wheels at the Festival of Motor Racing. It's the fourth festival being held at Hampton Downs over consecutive weekends. As we watch the field come through Austin's, Boyden just getting a little bit sideways, using all the power of the small block V8 under the hood. Behind him, the rotary powered car of Aidan Barrett. That's the RX-7 Mazda. Back on board here with Boyden, working his way out of the dipper and heading down into the Middleman turn at the bottom end of this 2.7 kilometre circuit. And you can see that horsepower really telling as he stretches the field into one long line behind him. Round this never-ending sweeper at the bottom of the circuit, and then it is full power up the top. Once again, Roger Townsend now in hot pursuit of the second of the Mazdas, and that would be the Smythe Mazda by the look of it. Townsend using the power of the Cologne Capri just to move over, or just cross the yellow line, the entrance line, the blend line if you like, into pit lane, so the officials might be having a look at that as we have a good look at Tony Boyden through turn number one, as tidy as you like. He's owned this car for a long time. He's a bit of a collector, Tony Boyden. He's got quite a few historic cars with very much Kiwi significance. He's got an ex-Rod Coppins Camaro. There's the Zack Speed Escort, car number one. This is Gary Wilkinson from Christchurch. Behind him looked like one of the Sierra Cosworths. Once again, Townsend putting the pressure on Smythe. Smythe just moving over slightly in the RX-7 just to hold the man from Christchurch at bay, Roger Townsend. This is an ex-Works Ford Cologne Capri from 1972. Roger's another one that's got quite a collection of cars, capable on all surfaces. Down the inside he comes once again. Now, can he make the pass stick, or will the Mazda come back as they head down into turn one? There is Barrett. Smythe goes round the outside of the Capri. Now, can he live on the outside of turn one? Yes, he can. Oh, a little bit taily for Townsend, but does he get the spot back? We look from the back of the shot, and it's Townsend back into third. Or have I spoken too soon? I have, because Smythe comes right around him again, up through turns 3 and 4. It's as close as you like here. Look, there are amazing cars in this field, some of them museum pieces, but you don't tell the drivers that. Not when the lights go out. That's when it all stops. The talk stops, and the racing starts, and the racing has started with this man, Boyden, Tony Boyden in the front. Last lap board out, so Tony Boyden, all he's got to do really is keep this on four wheels, and victory is assured. As we watch the rest of some of these historic cars coming through, there's Steve Rasmussen in the Porsche in the Golf colours. We go back to Wilkinson in this beautiful Zack Speed Escort, virtually as wide as it is long. Jerry Hodges looking to move up the inside of Veen Smith to take the spot on the last lap. Smith says, I'm not having any of that, and takes it back as they go through Austin's and head towards the dipper. So action all around the circuit here at Hampton Downs. You're back on board looking out the back window of Tony Boyden's Walkinshaw Group A Commodore. A dominant performance from the man from Dannevirke. As I said, he's got quite a choice of cars sitting back home in a big shed, and he's decided to bring out the Group A Commodore, and it's going to pay dividends because he is going to win race number one of the Hoffman Ford Group A in historic touring cars races. Checkered flag falls for Boyden. In second place it will be Aidan Barrett, and in third place it'll be Christchurch's Roger Townsend. A couple of lap cars going through there. There is Townsend, right in behind him Graham Smythe, and the next one would be Gary Wilkinson. That's the official result, but Tony Boyden too good for them by over 2 seconds. Well, this is the historic muscle cars in pre-78 historic saloons and GTs, and a good representation from across the Tasman. A big contingent of Australian historic muscle cars have made the trip here to Hampton Downs, and it's one of those cars that goes into the front straight away, and that is Shane Wilson, the Budmore Boss Trans Am Mustang from 1970. alongside him, it looked like it was Steve Rasmussen in the Porsche, but we'll check on that for you. Gimlet looking to make his presence felt in this one as well. There he is, car number 3, alongside Dale Mathers. Dale Mathers, one of the movers and shakers of the historic muscle car group here in New Zealand. And it's a tribute to him and Steve Holmes and a few others that they've got such a huge field. So diving down the inside is car number 2, and this is Ian Woodward in the Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Remember, the Australian cars are running to Australian historic muscle car rules, and New Zealand cars running to their own national rules. But it is still number 15 out in front, Wilson. There is Angus Fogg sitting in second place. Now, don't discount Angus in that giant killing Mini. It's got a crossflow head on it. It's a little bit more than a Mini. And it is very, very nimble, as you see. It just absolutely monsters car number 15 as they head down into the Austin's turn, and Angus Fogg hits the front, and he came from way back. Now, I can tell you that conditions, it is slightly damp, and that's probably why you see Ian Woodward getting a little bit sideways, getting around Shane Wilson there. So the Pontiac gets up into second place. The Mustang goes back into third. But look who's out in the front, and the Pontiac gets it sideways. Now, can Woodward get it back and hold on to second place, or will Wilson? No, it's not Wilson anymore. It's Dale Mathers from New Zealand, from Tauranga, that moves into third place now in the Mustang. The 302 Ford chasing down the Pontiac Firebird, but they're all chasing down the Mini of Angus Fogg. Can you believe it? If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, you wouldn't have believed it. Muscle cars being out-muscled by a Mini. It'll change as they come up the hill here at Hampton Downs. This 2.7 kilometre circuit. Fogg gets monstered across the line by Woodward and then by Mathers, but he'll hold on to third place. Australia versus New Zealand. This is what the big crowds come to see. Fogg's right in it again as he dives up the inside of Dale Mathers. Mathers gets a little bit sideways, shuts the door. Fogg might have second though. He's gone up the inside of Woodward. He takes second place, forgets second place. He takes first place as they head up over into turn number 3, up and over the hill. It is Foggy in the front. Well, he's raced all sorts of cars. He's raced the Super Tourers. He's raced the New Zealand V8s. He's raced muscle cars. He's set lap records in the muscle cars, but he started his career right there in the front seat of a Mini. He was the New Zealand Mini 7 champion, and he's showing you why here at Hampton Downs. Kevin Gimlet's got way more horsepower than the little Amco Mini, and he goes past and moves his way up into third place. But Angus Fogg putting on the show for the big crowd here at Hampton Downs. So it is Mathers now out in the front. Second place is Woodward. Then we go back to Gimlet. Then it's Fogg. But hold old tickets with Angus Fogg, because we're getting to the slippery section. We're getting to the tight and twisty stuff here at Hampton Downs. And he is absolutely giving Kevin Gimlet fits in the little Mini, trying to get as close as he can. Doesn't want to get out horsepowered again. And have a look at the way he changes lines just so quickly. Sideways again. That's the only ways he knows is Queensland's Ian Woodward. But Gimlet's got everything under control here at the moment. Throws out all the anchors, tries to stop in time to not hit Ian Woodward, but at the same time try and go past him as they head down into the bottom end of this circuit here at Hampton Downs. Gimlet out horsepowers the Pontiac, so Chevy on Pontiac, Camaro on Firebird. There is the stricken car of Australia's Shane Wilson. So his race has come to an end prematurely. But what a race we've got in our hands here. Dale Mathers from Tauranga in the 302 Boss out in the front. Then it's Gimlet from Papamoa. The Bay of Plenty ruling the roost here at Hampton Downs in second. And then it is the Australian Woodward. And then it is the Giant Killer. And that is Angus Fogg. Well, Kevin Gimlet, another one that's driven all sorts of different saloon cars and stock cars in his career, but has found a home in the historic muscle cars in his rolling tribute to Dale Earnhardt. Number 3, the Goodwrench Camaro. Just being slowed a little bit by one of the lap traffic there, the Ford Anglia. Here is Angus Fogg. He still sits in 4th place. Gimlet in the front, Mathers in 2nd. Then it's Woodward, then it's Foggy. Heading up the top once again, the Chevy holding out the Ford. That'll get the big crowd on the hill stirred up as Kevin Gimlet takes the checkered flag and wins the historic muscle cars and pre-78 historic saloons. In second place it will be Dale Mathers, then it would be Ian Woodward, and then it would be Angus Fogg. Brilliant performance from Foggy, but a brilliant performance too from Kevin Gimlet. So Gimlet gets the win from Tauranga's Dale Mathers, Australia's Ian Woodward, Angus Fogg and Ethan Lind round out the top